Good evening and welcome to Had Many Things with me, Mike, your host, and
Tom.
We're going to be speaking like this for as long as we can really bear it. Which is just about now, and I'm done. Today we're going to be talking about Christmas. Everybody loves a bit of Christmas. All right, Noddy. Hey, does that make me grumpy? Not really. We'll call you Noddy for now. That name's just a little bit of a holder.
That's awful.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about Christmas, whether you celebrate it or not. So get used to it, buddy. Tom, do you celebrate Christmas?
I mean, yes. Yes.
Tom, are you a Christian?
On paper, probably?
On paper? What do you mean on paper? Let's simplify this. Do you believe in a divine being?
Nah.
Then you're not a Christian, are you?
No. I mean, I think I might be on the census, so I can't remember if I ticked Jedi
ignoring the whole idea that once you're a Catholic, you're always a Catholic, you're just a bad Catholic, because that's
Lapsed.
Clearly insert expletive here, because I've had complaints about my expletives. You know what, I'm going to just say expletive, and you can all fill in the blanks, as creatively as you want. Yeah, no, I kind of don't acknowledge that as a thing. If you're raised Catholic and you decide you don't believe in any of the Catholic beliefs or doctrine, and they say, well, you're still a Catholic, they're just wrong.
Yeah, fair enough.
You don't believe in a divine being. You don't believe in Jesus, our chosen Lord.
Well, I mean, he's not my chosen Lord, so no.
But Christmas. It's his birthday, bro. Don't snub the man on his birthday.
I mean, it's probably not his actual birthday.
It's just rude. You're not going to come round to mine on my birthday and be like, I don't believe in you.
No, but I can see you. That helps.
Can you?
Well, not right now. Now I can just hear you.
Because none of our listeners can. They can only hear me.
Are you moving in mysterious ways?
Yes. There's pirouettes involved. It's all very mystical. If you ever hear my voice go up and down in volume, it's just when I spin and I'm no longer facing my directional microphone.
I feel like I got really serious there.
You did not know how to respond to that.
No, I didn't.
Okay, so what is Christmas, Tom? We start off every episode with a definition, it appears. So you are going to define Christmas.
Well, okay. Christmas falls on the 25th of December in most instances, I would say. Although we'll get to that in a bit later. Christmas is basically the current incarnation of the winter festival that people have celebrated for many years.
Kind of like Jesus was an incarnation of God. It's incarnations, it all comes in cycles.
Well before Jesus was a thing. There have been festivals held, at least as far as I know, in European countries in winter to get us through the boring months.
Yeah, there's a little thing called the winter solstice, wasn't there?
Yes, which was yesterday as we were recording, I believe. And yeah, so longest day of the year, cold and dark, and people needed something to keep them happy, so why not get really, really drunk and have a lot of sex and cake? I imagine is basically the pagan version of what it was, and then over time religions came along and kind of adopted it. Jesus very handily born on the 25th.
An alternative definition would have been it's a holiday celebrated in countries of Christian origin or Christian immigration in which people celebrate the assumed birth or claimed birth of their divine saviour and or prophet, a fella known as Jez.
Jezza, 2,000 years before he came back as the Labour leader.
Yeah, I was going to say, the same initials. That's all I'm going to say. Same initials, both want to feed the poor. They've got a lot in common.
But one of them ate fish and the other one's vegan?
And they're both a bit mental.
Yeah.
So, we've already drawn the parallel here, without even looking at the crib sheet, that Christmas means different things to different people. I'm an atheist. Tom, are you an atheist?
Yeah.
Are you agnostic atheist? Are you quite
I'd say atheist nowadays. I probably said agnostic when I was younger. Got annoyed by some atheists.
Yeah, when we were fence sitters. We still get annoyed by people like Christopher Hitchens, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the kind of thing I mean. I knew some people who were very... my main thing is I'm against people trying to convert me or other people in any way. So it doesn't matter. If you're an evangelical atheist, that's as bad to me as an evangelical might not even be the right word, but you know what I mean? In the way people get annoyed by Jehovah's Witnesses coming around, if atheists were knocking on every door, that would be annoying too.
Yes. So, there is a stark divide. We have friends, I have friends of Islamic faith that have asked me why I celebrate Christmas as an atheist, and that becomes a slightly harder question to answer, because it is a Christian holiday. It may not have always been a Christian holiday, if we trace its origins, which we will attempt to do so later. But that's what it became. It was taken, it was reforged, as it were. Why do I celebrate it? Because I think it's transcended religion.
Yeah, I'd agree.
It's become a cultural holiday. Christmas isn't about... To some people, Christmas is about Jesus. I would say to most people, in the UK at least, it's about family.
Yeah.
And it's about warmth and comfort in dark and cold times. And I think in that way, we've kind of gone full circle back to some of the original ideas behind the celebration prior to it being annexed by the Judeo-Christian religions.
Yeah, it started off probably secular with some mysticism, and now it's back to being secular for the most part, I would say.
I mean, when do we think the first Christmas was celebrated? That'd be a weird question, wouldn't it? I mean, it's going to be impossible to answer, but I mean, it certainly wouldn't have been on Jesus' birth, would it? Because that's not what people celebrated at the time.
No. I mean, there were some wise men stuck for a bit at the petrol station trying to buy some
They obviously weren't very wise, were they? They arrived late for a start.
Well, travel wasn't what it is nowadays.
Well, you know what? Wise is just a short form of wizard, and wizard arrives precisely when he means to. So I do not believe these men were wizards.
This is a diversion I didn't expect from you to take.
Challenge my logic, Thomas.
It's perfect. Absolutely perfect. Sublime logic.
You will learn. You will learn, my Padawan.
Sorry, first Christmas, I don't know, I'm sure someone has done a thesis on this, it's the kind of thing someone would have studied, but if you mean Christmas as in a Christian Christmas, then It would be, Jesus would have had to have been dead, plus some time for them to decide it should be a festival. I can't remember, I'm sure there's something about the Romans kind of basically being like, oh, we had this festival, let's just bung all the Jesus stuff in there too.
What's really interesting is that no one actually knows quite which Roman festival Christianity took over or annexed. There are theories that I think one of the favourite theories is Saturnalia.
Yep, that was the top hit when I googled just now.
Well, I didn't Google it, but I will do now. So you've Googled it. I don't need to Google it.
I googled the phrase Christmas Roman Festival and to see what came up, and Saturnalia.
Yeah, and I don't think Saturnalia quite fits the bill, but it's the closest they've got. I believe Saturnalia was basically a giant drunken orgy, which sounds like a fucking good Christmas to me. Except, I did it.
The holiday was celebrated with a sacrifice at the Temple of Saturn in the Roman Forum, and a public banquet followed by private gift-giving, continual partying, and a carnival atmosphere that overturned Roman social norms. Gambling was permitted. God, those gambling Romans.
I lasted 10 minutes, Tom.
Oh, it took you 10 minutes, yeah.
God damn it.
It's all right. I mean, we put these episodes out as explicit,
So I believe that it was all sorts of orgies and stuff, and the joke I was going to make was it sounds like a great way to spend Christmas, except for the fact that most people spend Christmas with their family, which would get a bit weird.
I can't seem to find anything specifically about orgies.
Hey, Tom, you smell real nice. Like inside of my mom's purse.
That is just creepy.
So, the Romans had Saturnalia, the Gauls would have had their own festivals, the Celts would have had their own festivals, the Picts, all of these various tribes. The Goths, I imagine, would have had their own festival.
Yeah, I think
I would imagine it mostly involved sitting around listening to Twisted Sister and being somewhat morbid, but...
being visible.
Yeah.
I think the Druids had, is it Baal or something like that?
I don't know if the Druids were ever a people,
but like that.
Are we just sort of attributing an entire D&D class to historical people?
No, I mean, like,
is it where they all
Celtic...
turned into a grizzly bear or a reindeer and had like head putting competitions? One of them just didn't get it right, and that's where Rudolph comes from. Druid with a cold.
Slightly drunk druid, I was going with, but yeah. But I mean, there was the kind of druidic religion throughout ancient Britain, I believe, they definitely had some kind of festival in the middle of winter. I think it involved lots of fire because druids. Yep. And also it was cold and dark.
So, yeah, a lot of these original origins were about driving away darkness and about bringing warmth in the coldest times, and sort of trying to bring back the summer and spring heat. Which is why they were generally held on the darkest day of the year, as it would symbolically represent ending the period of darkness as it got progressively lighter from there on. Although it's quite a convenience in it that someone's like, hey, you know what, we're going to cast this magic spell on this day every year that just so happens to be the day where this already happens, whether we're casting the spell or not.
Magic, that.
Yeah, so someone had a good eye for detail. Someone was good at planning. And a lot of people weren't very good at spotting it.
Well, I think a lot of that, these kind of the wise men, not as in the three wise men, but people who were considered wise at the time, like they would know how to do things like read the stars.
A lot of these societies were quite female-led.
Well, yeah, wise women then. I don't know much about the Druids. I thought they were mostly men, but there could easily have been female
I'm
Druids.
not an expert on the subject by any means, but I believe that one of the ways in which Christianity or Judeo-Christianism spread across Western Europe was it created a structure in which the men held the power rather than priestesses. So men across Western Europe began to adopt it as a societal mould in which they were the holders of. So, you know, what does Christmas mean to you? Now we've explored a little bit about what Christmas is.
Yeah.
Subjectively, not objectively.
I really enjoy Christmas. I don't think I go over the top. I'm sure there's always someone who would say that whatever I do is over the top. But, you know, my house isn't covered in lights and decorations. We haven't even got the Christmas tree up yet, which we'll discuss in a bit.
You disgust me.
There's no room for it. We've just moved
I got
in.
mine up on the 1st of January and it's a 7-footer. I'm of the opinion that your Christmas tree is not a Christmas tree if it is smaller than yourself.
I mean, luckily I'm shorter than you, so I get away with a 6-foot tree. But
enjoy your Christmas shrub, sir.
Fetch me another shrubbery. But yes, no. I really enjoy Christmas. I like festive time. I'm big on festive food, festive drink, and hanging out with friends and family in general.
Do you like to mull things over in the Christmas period?
Yes, I do. Yes, I've even got some fancy new mulling spices that I haven't used yet.
What do you mean fancy new mulling spices? Do you not just, what is it, star anise, clove, cinnamon?
Oh, normally I buy like they do these like little tea bag things so you can make your own mulled wine. But this year they were out of those when I went to buy more.
Those tea bag things just contain things that are already in my kitchen, so I don't bother.
I think I was missing something one year, so I bought some, and then this year I went and got like the pre-made pack. I don't always do it. It depends. Sometimes I just have loads of glue vine lying around the house anyway. I like Christmas. I feel I get quite Christmassy, but not too OTT, and enjoy hanging out with people and enjoying the good food and drink. So what about you?
I love Christmas. I once wrote a poem about how bad January is, but I love Christmas. To me, Christmas is a one time of the year when it still feels like there are strong communities in Britain. I love that there's lights up in the darkness. I love all the small lights instead of just some big floodlights. I love how pretty it is. I love the sort of little wooden huts they put up for Christmas markets. I love the smells and sights. You know, all the pork and the beef and the turkey. Everything about it is comforting, except for the bank balance.
Yeah.
It's just such a nice period of time to be in. A lot of people struggle with Christmas. A lot of people I know personally, and they're usually people who have had problems with their familial relationships, because Christmas is such a family-centered time culturally that it brings back a lot of issues or emotions that they did have. Luckily, it doesn't do that for me. You know, I've had good times and bad times with my family, and I like spend a bit of time with my family at Christmas, but it's more just walking around and seeing everything and being a passive participant rather than an active participant a lot of the time for me. I just think it looks beautiful aesthetically, it smells great, everything tastes great. It's a treat to the senses, and it's weeks of it.
Just let it all soak in.
Yeah. And I love the fact that everywhere is sort of surrounded with quite jolly music. And speaking of music, how fares your journey to Walhalla? Have you begun that journey yet?
I have begun my journey to Walhalla. I mean,
I wasn't playing.
No, neither was I. But I saw all my friends playing it, so I found it. I read up on it. And I was like, oh, okay, fine.
I was not playing, but I appear to be pretty much the only person I know that has not fell victim.
I don't think... I mean, I wasn't really paying attention, so it's possible I heard it without realising. But I think I only got caught out like a day or two ago.
Do you want to explain Whamageddon?
Whamageddon. Yeah, so Whamageddon is... the reason well, let me explain it first and then I'll comment on it.
I literally just asked you to explain it and you followed with, let me explain it first.
Yeah, no, I started saying something and I just said, no, I won't get off track yet. So,
talk to the audience, Tom, not yourself.
Hello, audience. I'm talking to you now. Yeah, no, Whamageddon is, because the song Last Christmas by Wham is particularly popular. In fact, I think it's the most popular Christmas song by number of times it's played.
For those of you who don't know, last Christmas, Tom gave me his heart.
And the very next day, I gave it away.
No, you can't give it away. You already gave it to me. What's this bullshit?
Oh, God. I'm not used to flipping
Tom,
around the lyrics.
I'm never going to trust another present you give me. Never trust another gift from you. You'd be like, here's this nice new set of knives I got to stab you with.
But yes, the idea is you, starting 1st of December, you must see how long you survive without hearing this song playing. And it has to be the original, not a remix, and not an instrumental or anything different, not a cover. It has to be the original. And when you hear it, you go to Whamhalla, and you have to tell everyone that this is what's happened on Facebook or wherever you're telling people these days.
And you know what? I've got like 2 days till I win. Get wrecked.
I think I didn't get caught out by my own playlist because I think I have an instrumental version because I have this CD my dad gave me.
I listened to a punk rock playlist. I've been listening to a punk rock Christmas playlist, and guess who's not on it?
Wham! Not Wham, I would expect. Unless The Clash did a cover of Wham, but then it would be a cover.
But it doesn't count. Yep. No.
Yep.
I'm safe.
But I saw people posting about it, and the thing I hadn't realised that it's specifically because I looked into it and then found out it was because it's the most played. But I would have assumed that Fairy Tale of New York was the most popular. So
popular and played are not the same thing.
That's true. But like I would have expected, I hear the Fairy Tale of New York way more often than I've heard Wham. So
you probably haven't. You probably just noted it more because you.
It's true, but it is also like the 6th song on my playlist.
There is a good chance that I've heard Wham out and about and literally just not registered it. I'm that non-observant, so it still doesn't count. You have to actually be aware that it's being played.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If you don't hear it, it doesn't work.
So, like Christmas music in general, like how do we feel about Christmas?
Well, so there's 2 types. There's carols, which I enjoy because I've sung a lot of them and I know how to sing them, and they have that kind of cozy, familiar feeling that you were describing with everything else to do with Christmas. And then there's the kind of pop songs, and the pop songs I think are a bit hit and miss. And so for me, I try and find some new ones each year, but I feel like we're not getting the big pop songs like there were in the 70s and 80s. So my core group of songs is very much, Slade and Wizard and Fairy Tale of New York with the Pogues and things like that. And then occasionally I'll come across something really cool. Like I think one of those swing bands we discussed in the music episode has like a really good album that I found. But yeah, I think mostly I'm pro, but occasionally you'll hear a cover and you're like, oh, that's awful. What about you?
Well, like I said, I've been listening to a punk rock Christmas playlist with, such wonderful songs as I Won't Be Home for Christmas by Blink-182. Are we familiar?
Yeah, I've heard that. Have you heard Killing Myself for Christmas by the Sick Puppies?
I don't think I have, but I really like the Sick Puppies, so I'm surprised that I haven't.
I think it's Sick Puppies.
You'll Shoot Your Eye Out by Fall Out Boy is probably one of my favourites.
It is the Sick Puppies. I'll send you that.
There we go. I've heard the My Chemical Romance cover of Wham. That's right. I'm going to click it and listen to it in a second. I'm currently going through my punk rock Christmas Spotify. There's a lot of covers of Last Christmas. 12 Days of a Punk Rock Christmas, Pop Punk Christmas by Jared Alonge. He does a lot of really funny pop punk covers. Rise Against have a Christmas song called Making Christmas. Anne Boleyn, Christmas Baby Please Come Home. Fountains of Wayne have I Want an Alien for Christmas.
Yes, I like that one.
Fall Out Boy covered What's This from A Nightmare Before Christmas.
Ooh, nice.
Reliant K, We Wish You a Merry Christmas. There's a couple from Weezer here. So plenty of good stuff on there. But I would say I would be really remiss if I didn't direct you to the following link. And I have to send you this before before I click yours, because in 2011, my housemate Liam, I think you've met Liam.
Yep.
Had a phone call from his dad. And his dad said, Liam, I've recorded a Christmas single. Which, of course, Liam's only sane reaction was, what? The bloke had spent months with a songwriter with a basic idea he'd had, and he'd hired the guy to flesh it out. And he hired a studio, and he recorded his own Christmas single. And we clicked it with hesitation and trepidation and other things ending in Asian. And we expected the worst. And it was really good.
I will listen to that while you're listening to the Sick
I'm going to listen to it as well because I've not heard it in ages. But
okay.
And for Mr. Young, we'll be putting this in the show notes.
I already like the fiddle
intro.
and the intro. Yeah.
Fun tidbit. You know the fella dressed as a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
I used to write press releases for him. And it only became like apparent when we were having a discussion that I even realised he was in this music video.
Right.
He ran his own PR business.
Oh, cool.
And he used to outsource some of his press releases to me because he didn't have time.
I mean, yeah, that was just quite delightful as a video. Having not seen it before, it had
But
nice.
Imagine our surprise when we received that from his dad. He's just like, Liam, I made a Christmas song. And the best bit is, like, he's clearly a fan of the Pogues.
Yeah.
Because he's a Geordie.
Oh, right, okay.
That was not a Geordie accent. It was a fake Irish accent. But how surprisingly good was that?
Oh, yeah, that was really good. I mean, it's got like 40-odd thousand views on YouTube, which isn't bad if your dad just writes a song. So, yeah.
So yeah, let's try and give that a little share, a little bump. Let's revive Mr. Young's 2011 Christmas song, "A Christmas to Remember." It really is quite something. It's surprisingly good. It's really catchy as well. You'll find yourself tomorrow in your head going, yeah, like with some of the words. You're like, huddle around the radio listening for a Christmas song. It sticks in your head.
I'm going to share one with you. You don't have to listen to all of it. You'll get like the idea.
I need to click your Sick Puppies one now. Gunfight's one of my favourite songs.
This one I'm about to share with you as well. Christmas Gets Worse Every Year by the other guys. I mean, it was like a proper charity single, so it was a bit more advertised, presumably, than Mr. Young's was. But I just quite like this. It's one of the more recent discoveries of mine.
This Sick Puppies one is very, very depressing.
Yeah, it is. I think it's one of Wade's choices.
Wade? I think you need help, bro. Being fair, they're Australian, and Christmas in Australia is weird because it's in the middle of summer.
Yeah, that kind of ruins it.
Oh, it's just Christmas Gets Worse every year.
It's like, it sounds like it's going to be super depressing, but it's not really. It's quite nice.
Oh, and of course, Pentatonics do a lot of Christmas covers every year. Because it's kind of a cappella's time of year, isn't it? So, yeah, there's Christmas music. And then you've got some of the classics from the 80s, or the 90s. You've got Mariah Carey, the self-styled Queen of Christmas, who has it contractually written into her appearances that she has to be referred to as the Queen of Christmas, or she will not perform.
I didn't know that.
What a diva. And then, of course, you have the spirit of Christmas himself, Mickey Bubbles, who simply emerges from hibernation once a year in order to soothe our souls through the Christmas period and charm our loved ones, particularly the female loved ones, who all seem to swoon a lot. And before he disappears again, he is a musical Father Christmas. Travels all the way around the world, sings to everybody, and disappears for a year.
No, I mean, I've not really listened to a lot of his
Have you not?
stuff. Like, I've listened to a bit when it comes up on like Google's auto playlists, but
It's easy to sound like you're exaggerating him, but he is smooth. Like, his voice is just syrup.
yeah, it's just I don't know anyone who particularly listens to him. So I don't, like, my mum isn't into him, for example. So the kind of person who would normally introduce you to his music just isn't there for me. So it doesn't come up every year.
So, yeah, there's the music all sorts. I think you're right. The era of Christmas number ones is kind of dead, and I think the X Factor killed it.
Yeah, although, you know, we did manage to get Killing in the Name of there one year.
Yeah, as a protest, and then next year Simon Cowell got his dirty mitts on it again. Christmas number one is chosen every year by Simon Cowell. But that is how much influence the man has. It's absurd, and it's just not even worth paying attention to anymore because of it.
And they're nearly always forgettable. Like, I couldn't tell you
Yes.
any of the ones from X Factor, pretty much. In fact, I don't think I could tell
Let's
you
have
any
a
of
look at Christmas number ones.
My favourite Christmas number one fact is that the only song to be Christmas number one twice is Bohemian Rhapsody.
This is, of course, only in Britain, by the way. Oh, it's not a Simon Cowell. Oh, I'm pleased this year.
Is it Ed Sheeran? Ah.
It's Ed Sheeran.
Oh, the
Good
news only
man.
went live today, so yeah. Oh, well done, Ed
Good
Sheeran.
man. Clean Bandit last year, who I've never heard of, featuring Sean Paul, who I have heard of. Lewisham and Greenwich NHS Choir in 2015. A bridge over you. I'm not sure if that's like a bridge over troubled water, or a bridge over the River Kwai, or something in between.
I can't remember. I think that one was on the news.
Ben Heno, something. I don't even know who Ben Heno is.
No.
Sam Bailey is some dude from TV, I think. I don't know.
Sam Bailey's face is on. There's an album. I think he's got an album out at the moment. I've seen him on the Tube.
Who's the Justice Collective?
I don't know, but that's a cool
The
name
project
for a band.
spearheaded by Peter Hooton of The Farm. I knew someone who was in The Farm. Military Wives in 2011.
I remember that one. That one was all over the news because it was like a charity single.
Matt Cardle 2010. Rage Against the Machine 2009.
Nice.
So it might be 2009 that actually broke the X Factor Christmas number one. It doesn't look like we've had one since then, except for maybe Sam Bailey or Matt Cardle. I don't know. I don't know who Matt Cardle is.
Yeah, no, I don't know who they are.
Before that, we've got years and years of X Factor. Alexandra Burke, Leon Jackson, Leona Lewis, Shane Ward, Band-Aid. Oh, what a terrible
Band-Aid
song.
20. Yeah, Band-Aid 20 was a terrible redo.
Isn't Band-Aid just racist when you look back on it?
Yeah, it's not the best.
Michael Andrews' Mad World. I didn't know that was... Oh yeah, that was like the most depressing Christmas number one ever, wasn't it? All around me are familiar faces. Robbie Williams. Yeah, something stupid's an old cover, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Bob the Builder, 2000.
Millennium.
What a year to be alive.
I remember that, and I remember being horrified at the age of 9 that Bob the Builder was Christmas number one. And then we go into Westlife and 3 years of the Spice Girls.
Yeah.
That's quite something.
That's impressive, because I think the Beatles have
job,
4.
Spice Girls.
Yeah, the
good
only
job,
other people to
Spice
have a run
Girls.
of 3 is the Beatles, so...
So what we're saying is that the Spice Girls are as good as the Beatles. So enjoy that statement, everybody. Take that out of context. Michael Jackson, 1995, so he hadn't become a total recluse yet. Oh, fucking East 17.
Stay Another Day. I mean, at least that's the only song of theirs I could name.
Another day.
And then in 93, Mr. Blobby by
You know what,
Mr.
I'm not
Blobby.
sure if Mr. Blobby is better or worse than Stay Another Day. Whitney Houston, Queen, Cliff Richard, Band-Aid, Cliff Richard, Pet Shop Boys. So yeah, we go all the way back so we see some... Yeah, there's a bit of Pink Floyd, Another Brick in the Wall, 1979. It's not very Christmassy. Slade, Merry Christmas, Everybody.
I mean, the majority of the Christmas ones are in the 70s to early 80s, there, mid-80s.
Moon
maybe.
River in 1961.
Yeah, I can see that.
And then the Beatles had I Won't Hold Your Hand, great song, I Feel Fine, and Day Tripper. So, and Hello Goodbye. They just got pipped by Tom Jones one year.
With Green Grey and Grass of Home. Which, I don't think I've heard his version of that.
For those of you who weren't alive in 1969, Rolf Harris with Two Little Boys sounds awful out of context.
It was a pretty awful song in context.
So, Christmas music, it's a thing. There's traditional Christmas music, there's church Christmas music, there's pop Christmas music, and there has been a Christmas number one recorded since the 60s. It's a thing. We all care about it for some reason.
I mean, I know some people who get very visceral, negative reactions to Christmas music, so I think that's probably why it kind of gets discussed every year.
I think that, some people just I hate it, rah, 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 rah. And I think it's maybe the repetition.
Yeah.
I think the repetition is also why some people find it comforting. It's not Christmas unless you hear all the traditional Christmas songs, is it?
Yeah, exactly. That's how I feel. But, I mean, I have the choice to listen to it, and if I was stuck in a retail job, forced to listen to the same song on repeat, then I could understand.
It's quite a different story. So, decoration, eh? How do we feel? We talked about trees earlier. You don't have one yet. You are a failure.
Well, I have one, it's not up.
Did you mean it's not up, but is it horizontal?
Yeah, it's artificial.
Oh, that's not a tree.
I've never had a real tree in my life. So we used to have a small one outside the house, maybe. But my parents just didn't like cleaning up.
You know what a plastic tree is?
Finest German engineering, that's what it is.
Not a tree. A tree might eventually become plastic. Plastic will never become a tree.
Well, cats like to jump on them, so we decided to not have pine needles all over the floor. Lovely though real trees smell.
You've actually gone down in my opinion, in my esteem.
Well, it's tradition. I've never had a proper tree. It's just not a thing our family
You've never had
did,
a proper
so
Christmas, mate.
Lies.
I'm not even disappointed in you. I'm disappointed for you.
I mean, I've been around proper trees, but they always seem like a lot
You know
of
what
effort.
the best bit about proper trees is? The smell.
The smell. Oh yeah, they smell amazing.
And if you get a Norwegian spruce like I've got, I picked it up on the 1st of December. I can see about 8 pine needles on the floor in 3 weeks.
That's not bad.
They don't shed if you get certain breeds of tree.
I thought it was at the end that there was the problem. Come the 6th of January.
Yeah, but come 6th of January, you're getting rid of it anyway.
Yeah, but if in the process of getting rid of it, it goes all over the floor, it's...
Then use a Hoover, you lazy cretin. Or, do what I do and have a robotic Hoover. So it's even less effort.
That would make life a lot easier.
I get slightly upset at plastic trees. They're just pale, horrible facsimiles of the real thing. They don't look the same, they don't feel the same, they don't smell the same. Everything about them is just wrong. It's just knockoff. It's like going, oh yeah, no, I'll give you a lift down to the shop, and someone gets in your bloody go-kart. And you sat there peddling away. Someone's like, I was expecting something a bit different.
I get what you're saying. A lot of fake trees are atrocious. Mine is not great here because it's like
if you went to the
cheapish one
train
that I got
station, right, and someone had this little mining cart with a push handle that you have to lift up and down, you'd be a bit disappointed, wouldn't you? I mean, yeah, it runs on tracks, it goes where you want it to go, but it's not a train.
I know, but I've just never had one, so there's no like nostalgia there.
Get one next year and see how you feel about it, and we'll revisit. That's my challenge to you next year, is get yourself a
My challenge is to convince my housemates that they would also want to get a real tree.
Mate, in my second year of uni, right, I walked from like up in Salford down to the Christmas markets, bought a tree and carried it all the way home. I'm a disabled person. That's how much I care about getting my Christmas tree.
I'm sure I can convince them. Maybe next year when there's not boxes everywhere. It's hard enough to get the artificial one up this year. I do want to get it up though, because elsewise, where are we going to put all the presents? Can't have presents without a tree. Unless it's in a stock.
Mate, you've had presents without a tree your whole life. We've already established this.
I mean, it's what Christmas was. I don't feel like I've missed out. I've seen real trees, and they're perfectly nice, but...
I'm going to come down to yours next Christmas with a gift. I'm going to take that plastic tree, and I'm going to remove it from the premises.
I mean, to be fair, we don't know where we're going to store it for the rest of the year, so it might be worth moving to real trees for that reason alone.
It's just nicer. There's just it's like saying, I've never really wanted a log burner because, you know, I've got a radiator. It's just nicer. It smells and looks and feels better.
I'm not disputing that. I'm just saying, like, because I've never had one, I don't have this, oh, I want that.
Plastic's never a substitution for the real thing. Ask your missus.
Anyway, so now that I've been thoroughly told off for not having a proper tree, when do you put up or take down the tree?
I do want to know everyone's opinion on this. If anyone actually listens and gives us feedback. I mean, someone, right, let's get the name of this individual. Who's this individual?
I believe.
Simon, right? I've only sworn, I think, twice in
45 minutes.
45 minutes, right? I did that for you. I'm trying, mate. Okay, I want to know, Simon, whether you have a real tree or a plastic tree, or no tree. And I want to know if it's taller. And that question's an open question, but it is addressed to Simon.
I think trees do need to be taller than you. That's something I'll agree on. Because
it's not really a tree otherwise, is it? It's just a bit of wood.
My mum has the tree that we used to use, the same artificial tree we had when I was a kid. And it is, when I was a kid, I remember it being this towering great thing. And you go back and now I'm taller than it. I'm like, well, that's a bit disappointing.
Yeah. And that's my thing. Every year I want this massive tree. Yeah, it's a bit difficult to get in the car, to be honest, this one.
Was it one of our friends was giving away an 8-foot tree earlier in the week? Wouldn't have fit in this flat.
It would have. You're just not creative enough.
I mean, at a jaunty angle, maybe.
You are not creative enough. Have you got a balcony?
Chop the top off. We do have a balcony, actually.
Right,
maybe
it would have fit on your bloody
year.
balcony, so you are not creative enough.
Next year we can put it on the balcony, assuming that's allowed in our house contract.
I wouldn't leave your presents out there, though.
Oh, no, not the presents, but the tree.
And then when you need to get rid of it, it's easy, because you don't need to shift it downstairs again. You just tip it over.
I'm not sure the floors below us would like that, but
yeah. Well, if you give it a good push as well, you don't want it bouncing off anyone else's balcony. So when can you put up or take down a tree? I believe you're supposed to take it down by the 12th of January, aren't you?
By the 6th of January.
Why
Epiphany.
the 6th?
Because that's the 12th day of Christmas.
Is it?
Yeah, because you start counting on the on Christmas Day is the first day of Christmas. You count 12 days, you get to the 6th, which is Epiphany. And it's bad luck if you don't take your tree down by then. Obviously, we don't believe in that. But
mate, I don't believe that Christmas starts 6 days before Christmas. If you believe most of what you see, it starts before Halloween.
No, yeah. The 12 days of Christmas starts with Christmas Day, and then it's 12 days afterwards. And then Christmas starts at a point, sometime between October and December.
I accept any time after Bonfire Night, really. I think that before you can start ramping up for any holiday, you have to get all the ones that precede out of the way. I'm not okay with Christmas decorations or Christmas songs or Christmas things in the shops or Christmas offers before Halloween, because Halloween's great. Let's get it out of the way. National Dress Like a Sort of Day. Everybody loves a bit, right?
Yep.
Or in my fair lady's case, as someone who's a little more paganly orientated, she sees Halloween as a time of renewal, much like other people see New Year. So yeah, loads of ways to celebrate Halloween, but Halloween is, it's nice and decorative. So why ruin it by putting Christmas stuff out beforehand? Once again, Bonfire Night, one of my favourites of the year.
Yeah, I enjoy Bonfire Night.
I think you can start to get excited for Christmas up to halfway through November at the earliest, but only in December does it start becoming appropriate.
So specifically the question about the tree. My dad always had the rule. So this rule, in retrospect, as a kid, I was like, this is the worst. I want my tree up as soon as possible. But in retrospect, the reason was my dad wanted to come up with a reasonable rule he could enforce every year, but also allowed him to be involved in putting up the tree. And so that was basically the first weekend in December.
Right.
So, because he wouldn't be able to help out in the... Well, I mean, he would have time after work.
No,
but,
that seems reasonable to me. Seems reasonable to me. So I went and got mine on the 2nd of December, I think, looking at the calendar.
Yeah.
Which was a Saturday.
I mean, that was our moving day. That's why we didn't put ours up.
I went and picked it up with my dad, because that's what we always used to do when we were younger. And it's just a nice thing to do. So, yeah, we got ours up at the beginning of December. I like to have it up for as long as possible. I think it's a really nice decoration. I think it smells nice, feels nice. I'm a big fan of the Christmas tree. So we tend to put it up as early as we can justify it and leave it up for as long as we can justify it, because we like having it around. We didn't decorate it, though, until the 9th when our housemate came back from holiday and we could do it together.
So I've it's a bit different with the artificial tree, but with it a few times we've like put it up ahead of the actual decorating, but normally we would do it as one thing.
Go ask Mikey if he prefers a plastic or a real tree. And Asia. I need answers to this, man.
Give me a sec.
Mikey and Asia. Mike wanted you to answer.
Sorry, I don't know how much of that you heard.
Only odd bits. It kept cutting out because your sensitivity wasn't high enough.
Aisha's response was a little one, that would be cool, but she doesn't feel up to dragging a big one down here. And then Mikey said he much prefers real ones, but at some point, when he was about 10, his mum bought an artificial one, went, that's all right, we're never having real trees again because they're a pain to clear up. Oh, have you sent her a photo as documentary proof? I mean, there doesn't look like there's much mess there. Also, it looks really nice.
But yeah, no, we do have a rumba, but the rumba's barely been on recently, and it's just barely shed. As you can see by the fact that it's still covered in green, it's not really been shedding.
Yeah.
So when Aisha called me out on that, saying, "Oh, there's only no needles because he's got a rumba," it's not. It's barely been shedding. It's a really good quality tree.
Mikey's other question, just as I closed the door, was how cold is your room or how hot? Because maybe the difference is like he had a very warm house, and that would cause it to.
Well, warm house, it's going to shed more.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah, that's I think what he was implying.
I don't know. Our house it's a big house with, as you can see by the fact that that's taller than that book cabinet. Our house has very high ceilings. It's a very big house. It's quite hard to keep. It goes from hot when the heating's on, and I mean really quite hot, to very cold overnight when it's off. So the heat, honestly, in this house fluctuates from, I'd say, like 9 degrees to like 23.
Right, yeah.
So there's nothing special about the house. It's just that certain breeds of tree have been bred to shed as little as possible.
Maybe we can get a small one on our balcony next year. One thing I don't know if you heard, Aisha was saying she wants a small one, but not one that goes on her car dashboard, which is a reference to the fact that I have what is basically a glorified piece of tinsel with some lights on it that plugs into the cigarette lighter on the car, so it can sit on the dashboard. So I have a Christmas tree to drive home with.
We also need documentary evidence of this.
I will have to take a photo when it's
so what we've established is that everybody in your house, barring you who's never had one, would prefer a real tree. They're just more effort.
Yeah, I'm not saying I wouldn't like a real tree. At no point have I said that.
Well, there we go. Next year you're getting a real
tree.
Next year you're getting a real tree, aren't you?
Well, yeah, we can put one on the balcony.
1 point to Mike. Oh yeah. Other point of contention with trees. How are you supposed to decorate them? So I lived for multiple years with someone you know called Claire. Claire saw this tree when she came to visit and said, "Oh God, what have you done? It's far too tasteful."
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I see where you're going with this.
Honest to God, Christmas living with Claire was incredibly stressful because her trees are hideous. She's of the opinion that you have to have at least 10 different colours. There needs to be no attempt at a pattern, and it needs to be as garish and gaudy as possible.
I've heard people who do things like this, and if that's their tradition, I don't mind.
It makes me angry to see something so ugly.
But yeah, like I don't know how other people do it. We had at home anyway, and I've tried to kind of follow the same idea, but I've done less collecting of baubles and stuff. But in our old house, in my parents' house, I think we had enough gold tinsel to do the tree from top to bottom, and then we had a second set of tinsel that was a variety of colours, so you had a mix of colours. And then we had like 3 or 4 key sets of like general baubles and decorations that had all been bought together. And then everything else was like a mishmash of little baubles or knickknacks we'd picked up over the years. But none of them, like nothing was particularly garish or clashing. Like some of them were like nice little wooden German Christmas tree decorations, and some of them were like things I'd made as a kid or my cousins had made. But they all kind of, together they worked, but it wasn't intentionally garish.
Growing up at my mum's house, we had about 4 or 5 different colour sets, and each year we would pick 2 to 3 of the colours, like red and gold or blue and silver or whatever colours were chosen. And out of the multiple colours we had, we would pick a theme, and we would decorate in that theme, which I think is where my sort of idea for a tasteful tree comes from, is that you don't need to stick everything you have on it.
Yeah.
Have enough that you can vary it every year, but you don't need to stick everything you have on it. So over the years, me and Lisa have been building sets, and this year is sort of a bronze, brass, gold theme. Got a bunch of green and red stuff as well. And we're trying to build up this collection like we did with my mum, along with a bunch of individual. Each year we buy one individual bauble.
Oh, yes, I know quite a few people who do that, yeah.
And then we stick that on. That comes from her family, where that is all they did.
All right, so they started off with nothing and slowly collected very individual baubles, yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely different opinions on how a tree should be decorated. Mine is the correct one. Wreaths is the next decoration we have on our list. I'm not a big fan of wreaths. I don't know why.
I don't know if we ever had a proper wreath, but we definitely had like a fake one you'd put up on the door. And it was always a pain, and it would get in the way of the door.
Proper ones, once again, are always nicer because they smell better. But I kind of like... Great, you've got a circle with a bow on it. Congratulations. I don't get it. Where do they come from?
I don't know the history of wreaths, actually.
Google it, then. That's my prompt for you to Google it.
I figured it was.
You're not very good at taking hints, are you?
Apparently the word wreath is derived from an English word meaning to twist, such as in a circle. Well, that's not particularly surprising. Wreaths were a design used in ancient times in southern Europe. They were worn as crowns.
I can see that. Yeah, I can see why that would be a thing.
Harvest wreaths were a common household decoration today. Well, I mean, I've never seen a harvest wreath, but I can believe it's a thing. It's ancient roots in Europe, traced back to ancient times and associated with animistic spiritual beliefs. Yeah, I found the Christmas wreath bit. The use of the Advent wreath has since spread from the Lutheran Church to many Christian denominations, so it started off with Lutherans. A priest used a wreath made from a cartwheel to educate children about the meaning and purpose of Christmas, as well as to help them count its approach, thus giving rise to the modern version of the Advent wreath.
Oh,
so yeah, when they used to have
rotate
candles on them, yeah, they would have 4 candles, and they'd light one each Sunday of Advent.
Okay.
A bit like Christingles, I suppose. Can't remember if Christingles have 4 candles or not, but similar idea, I suppose.
But cheap plastic wreaths do just look awful, don't they? Kind of like cheap plastic trees.
I think I've got the point at this point. Yeah, no, we had one. I can't remember how plasticky it looked, but I think it was mostly like tinsel and things going on. And I just remember that the bow was too long and would constantly like get caught in the post box and the door knocker, which was just a pain until one year we just decided to sellotape it up. So I don't think we were super pro wreath.
Yeah, I might do one year for a Christmas party at work. I might just dye all my hair and beard temporarily green, with like spray paint.
Yeah,
and just put a big red bow tie, and I'm like, I'm a wreath.
That'd be quite nice.
It'd be that time I went as a lion for Halloween. If you ever saw that one,
I don't think I've seen that. No.
I bleached and backcombed everything.
Oh, nice.
It was something. I basically had to shave my entire head and face the next day. So Christmas lights. Clare Street had this fantastic thing this year where there's a lovely Islamic family on it, and they obviously don't celebrate Christmas. They don't have Christmas lights, but they got all their Eid lights out for Christmas, so they can participate in the community thing.
That's a cool idea.
So lights have their obvious origin.
They were originally candles
even
on
before
trees.
that, bonfires and the solstice, driving away the darkness. They have origins that completely predate Christianity as a religion.
Oh yes. Yeah. No, I thought you meant.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you meant
lights
more like
at
Christmas
Christmas
tree lights than okay.
have predate any existing religious celebration of Christmas. Lights in the dark, lights in the winter, drive away the darkness, drive away the cold, fire. I would say it's easily the oldest tradition that exists surrounding it.
Light from darkness and all that kind of stuff predates Christianity and all of that. So yeah.
And then now we've got Yule logs, Tom. Tom, do you want to specify what a Yule log is?
So the thing I think you mean, or the thing I assumed you meant, is a Yule log is a type of log that you throw on the fire at Christmas, and it's often decorated. And nowadays, I think you can get ones with funny chemicals in that burn different colours, although that might just be Centre Parks.
I've never been to a Centre Parks.
No, I went to Centre Parks once as a kid, and I specifically remember seeing this in the shop and forcing my dad to buy a log that changed colour as you burned it, which was really cool. But I wanted it because it was to me it was like a Back to the Future reference. Yeah, that's what a Yule log is, I think. Just a decorated log you put on the fire.
Yeah, so but they're older than that. So it used to, if I can confirm this, and I'm not just, oh mate, when I actually look for Yule log, right, the first 4 entries are food. God damn it. So the Yule log, specially selected log burnt on a hearth at Christmas tradition in a number of countries. I believe the idea, from some documentaries I've seen previously, was that you would find one that was large enough that it would burn for the entire 12 days of Christmas.
Okay.
There we go. Yeah, it's a huge block of wood. And it's not burned completely in the first year, as part of it must be saved to light the following year's Yule log.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds kind of almost like that could follow on from some kind of pagan thing.
While the mostly burned wood was waited for its duty to light a new log, it is kept around the house to ward off a range of misfortunes. So it's a log that has to be big enough to burn for 12 days without being expunged. Yeah. And it's believed that it originates with Germanic paganism's Yule boar, where that's where Christmas ham comes from.
No, I didn't know that.
So I know turkey is a thing for us, but in Northern Europe, Christmas ham is the big thing, because they used to have the Yule hog.
I believe they also have Christmas ham in America because they use their turkeys up at Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's a far more commercial reason for it. This was because of the Germanic tribute to Freya, who was associated with boar's harvest and fertility. Imagine the size of A, that log, and B, that hearth.
Yeah, I mean, having had a lot of experience with leaving logs burning overnight, it has to be a pretty huge log to last 12 days.
Basically a tree trunk, isn't it?
And also, yeah, where would you put that in the average house?
It depends. Do you want a house in the morning? So yeah, that's the Yule log, which is kind of cool and interesting, and a really cool tradition. And you know what? If I was ever loaded enough to have a massive house with a massive hall and a huge fireplace big enough, I would totally re-adopt that tradition because it's awesome.
I think that's something that's coming round more and more now. Like, people are kind of picking up on these old, even more traditional kind of ideas and incorporating them into their Christmases because they're cool.
What did you think a Yule log was, Tom?
No, I did think that's what you meant, but
was it a piece of plastic?
No. People also call...
You see, you don't get a plastic stick from a plastic tree and like that, then. That would explain the funny coloured flames you've been seeing.
But Yule log is also sometimes used, and I know this was a thing that we made us do at school because it's easy cooking and doesn't involve actually any ingredients that might make you ill.
What, like putting cress seeds in an eggshell so it looks like it's got hair?
Well, yeah, stuff like that. But you know how you'd always do the stuff that didn't really involve an oven when you were quite young. A Yule log, at least, I don't know if this is outside of the UK, but it's basically just a Swiss roll, which is chocolate rolled cake. And then you have chocolate buttercream icing.
Yep, there we go.
And you just spread it on the outside and make it look like a log, and then you decorate it.
Yeah, a Yule log is the same thing dipped in chocolate. It's just a giant mini roll.
Yeah, basically. And I know that I think some people probably think that's all a Yule log is. I knew about the fire one as well, but I wasn't sure when it was just in a list that we had which one you meant, so I put it in brackets.
Other Christmas things to go with our Christmas music earlier. Christmas movies, mate.
Oh, Christmas movies.
I'm gonna name some movies, and you're gonna tell me if it's a Christmas movie or not.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
No.
Okay. Jingle All the Way.
I mean, it's set at Christmas, so I think that has to be a Christmas movie. Yes. I mean, like, the entire plot is about Christmas, even if it is quite a bad film.
Miracle on 31st Street.
Yes, that's a Christmas movie.
Elf?
Yes, definitely. I know a lot of people who don't believe Christmas has properly started until they've seen Elf.
I've never seen Elf.
Yeah, I was like that for a long time. It's a good movie. I would watch it again, but it's not part of my tradition.
Gladiator?
No. There's no Christmas in Gladiator that I can recall.
Passion of the Christ?
I mean, maybe if you're into that kind of thing. I wouldn't consider it a Christmas movie.
Die Hard?
Yes, 100% yes.
Oh, apparently there was a vote. The answer was no.
There was someone said that, and then at the bottom of the BBC page they had a poll, and it was the highest ranked one of all the movies they put forward. There's also
why is Die Hard a Christmas movie? It's John McClane shouting yippee-ki-yay and killing terrorists.
It's set at Christmas.
It's the most American Christmas you'll ever see.
It is, but it's set at Christmas. They really went for the Christmas theme, and I think it's popular for two reasons. One, it is got a lot of Christmas stuff in it, and two, some people see it as kind of a clapback at the kind of unnecessarily cheesy Christmas movies that exist.
I like it as well because, to me, it's John McClane is basically doing everything he can to get home for Christmas.
Yeah.
That's every other plot point of that film aside, that plot is about one disgruntled cop
trying to get home for Christmas and a bunch of people being in the way.
But apparently the original book was just kind of set at Christmas because it was. And then when the director came to make the movie, he was like, we're going to go all out on the Christmas. His wife's called Holly, and there's all this kind of stuff going on. And they were just like, we're just going to go as much Christmas as possible. Also, during the shooting of that, Bruce Willis temporarily lost 2/3 of his hearing because they loaded extra loud blanks into his gun in the scene where he fires it under a table. Fun fact I learned today.
What about Nightmare Before Christmas?
I think that straddles Halloween to Christmas.
I don't think it is. I think it's a Halloween movie. I think aesthetically everything about it is Halloween and not Christmas.
Yeah, I think it's a good movie to watch in between Halloween and Christmas. I would start watching it around Halloween if I was going to watch it multiple times in a year, which I don't. But I could watch it around Halloween. I could watch it after Halloween.
I think it has really awesome character design and a very overrated soundtrack.
The soundtrack's pretty good, but it's not the best.
Is it Danny Elfman?
Yes, it is. And I think, is he the voice of Oogie Boogie as well? He might be.
Would also not surprise me. So, in terms of Christmas movies, Christmas now every year means Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to.
Which means lightsaber sales.
They haven't yet done a white and red striped lightsaber, though, to cash in on the obvious Christmas reference.
That would
be awful. Yeah.
Mate, The Last Jedi was divisive enough. That would do unfortunate things to the Star Wars fan base. Or fortunate, perhaps, given the way they've been behaving. So yeah, Christmas movies definitely a thing. Everyone likes to sit down and watch certain films at Christmas. You know what? You know what's a proper Christmas movie, which I still think people don't tend to watch anymore, but it used to be on terrestrial TV every Christmas.
It's a Wonderful Life?
Homeward Bound.
Homeward Bound. I'm not sure I can remember enough of Homeward Bound. I mean, I know the movie, but I'm not sure I can remember enough of it.
But it just used to be on terrestrial TV every year, didn't it?
Yeah, I think it was on, but I kind of just never watched it.
Same with Beethoven. Always seemed to be on sometimes.
Beethoven was on a lot. I remember that. I was going to say, other movies I would throw...
Home Alone.
Home Alone, definitely, and Home Alone 2. I would also throw in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, which is still quite funny, even though it's...
I would have to have seen it to agree, but I've not seen it.
I mean, it's intentionally a Christmas movie, but it's about a man slowly going mad at his family over Christmas. But in the end, it's fine.
It's National Lampoon, isn't it? So it's the same as every other National Lampoon movie.
It is, but I think it's probably my favourite of them that I've seen. What else is Christmas movie? That's probably the main set I watch, really. I work through the Die Hards when I'm wrapping my presents. I normally end up getting most of the way through Die Hard 2 as well, which is also set at Christmas, whereas Die Hard 3...
How many Die Hard movies is the acceptable number of Die Hard movies?
I think probably... what do you mean, just to watch, or just which are okay?
Just in total. How many are actually... How many would we like to ignore? How many would we like to pretend weren't made?
I would watch the first 3, is my general set. The fourth one isn't awful by comparison to 5 and 6.
The fourth one, oh mate, the fourth one, that scene where he crashes a car into a Harrier jump jet. I'm like, no.
Oh, that's one of those points where it's so bad it's good. Kind of, I could watch it because it's stupid.
It's not. No, I'm like, this isn't the Transporter. You're not Jason Statham. Pack it in.
Shall we move on to Christmas Day?
Well, I think before Christmas Day, there is Christmas Eve, sir.
There is.
And have you heard of the Icelandic tradition of, forgive me for mauling this word, Jolabokaflod?
Jolabokaflod. That's got to be the episode title. However you pronounce
it.
Possibly
Christmas special.
Jolabokaflod. We can't pronounce Icelandic.
Apparently, in Iceland on Christmas Eve, Google's got this way of... You can find out how to pronounce stuff in Google, can't you?
Yeah.
Icelandic pronunciation on this. Jolabokaflod. Oh, the D is like a TH.
Okay.
Jolabokaflod.
Jolabokaflod
Is the closest I'm going to come to without an Icelandic accent. Jolabokaflod. Jolabokaflod is the tradition of giving each other books and chocolate on Christmas Eve and spending Christmas Eve reading the books and eating the chocolate.
I have heard of this, but I didn't know that's what it was called. That's really cool.
It translates to Christmas Book Flood.
Christmas Book Flood. I like that. No, yeah, that sounds cool.
It sounds peaceful. It sounds way better than spending Christmas Eve at your mum's house with all your siblings and step-siblings and people bickering and stuff. If everyone's there, but they're all just shut up and sat in corner reading.
Yeah, I mean, our Christmas Eve tradition nowadays, I can't remember really what we did when I was a kid. I mean, my parents tried to get me to go to sleep mostly, I think. But nowadays, Christmas Eve, we go to the pub near our old school, all my old schoolmates, and we have a few drinks. Or in my case, I don't have any drinks because I've got to drive, because I have to drive to my mum's all the way over in Wiltshire. That's how we do Christmas Eve nowadays, which is quite nice.
Apparently, Iceland, with a population of only about 330,000 people, the country has more writers, more books published, and more books read per head than anywhere else in the world, with 1 in 10 Icelanders publishing a book.
Well, I suppose if they need to have all those books to read on Christmas Eve.
Oh, and apparently you have to give a physical book. An e-book is not acceptable. I approve.
Fair enough, yeah.
And it actually, as a tradition, helps support the Icelandic publishing industry immensely. Really interesting.
While we're also on Christmas Eve, it's probably worth mentioning that a large number of people in Europe, Germany definitely does, I think Spain does as well, they do all their Christmas opening on Christmas Eve instead of Christmas Day, which is a thing we don't do.
Then what's Boxing Day for?
I don't think they have Boxing Day. I think that's a very British
Because that's literally
bank
the
holiday.
point of Boxing Day. Boxing Day was supposed to be the day that you open your presents because Christmas was a sacred day, so you weren't supposed to do it. Which begs the question, why isn't it called Unboxing Day?
I mean, I blame the Victorians, probably. I don't know. Or maybe they just decided that was too long and unwieldy, so they caught...
Cover your ankles in shame, Victorians. And after Christmas Eve, we have January. No, I mean, we have Christmas Day. Why have you got timeline as a
So,
note?
I put this in because a lot of the other traditions...
You're giving it an hour-by-hour breakdown.
Not an hour-by-hour
like,
breakdown.
Like, time the kids wake up, time the kids convince the parents to get out of bed.
Not an hour-by-hour breakdown, but Christmas Day is one of the things that has... While it may have slowly absorbed new traditions, I feel the layout of our Christmas Day has always been this thing that kind of is set in stone since I was a kid and has not really changed. Even to the point where now it's just me going over to my mum's, but we do exactly the same things we did when I was a kid. And so I figured and also it's interesting to see how people do presents differently and things. So, I mean, that's probably where we start.
Well, generally speaking, we do presents when we get up.
Yes.
First thing you do.
But do you have different types of presents? Because
I don't understand the question.
So we would have stocking presents, and those were the ones you did. So when I was a kid, obviously not now, but when I was a kid, we would have the stocking presents, and we would go into my parents' bedroom as soon as they were willing to be woken, which was probably like 7 a.m, because we were terrible children who wanted to open our presents straight away, as all the children do. And then we'd open those on the bed then and there. And only my brother and I got stockings. My parents didn't have stockings. Then we would go downstairs and do the tree presents separately.
No, so this varies year on year. Yeah, we've not kept it the same like you have due to people being in different financial situations and across the country.
Yeah.
We as kids would have stocking fillers, which were smaller presents like you,
and a satsuma.
and we would be allowed to go down and open them to keep us occupied until our parents bothered getting out of bed when they wanted to get out of bed. And that would keep us occupied until they came down, at which point we would open the main presents which were under the tree. We didn't call them tree presents, they were just the presents as opposed to stocking fillers, which are stocking fillers as opposed to stocking presents. Just different terminology.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah, so it's all the little things, really. That
I mean, it'd be mostly stationary these days, I guess.
other than that, that's the only thing I can think of in timeline, because I mean, we don't even do the same thing every year. So, like, my family are coming to see me on Christmas Eve on my mum's side, because obviously my parents are divorced. This changes the whole dynamic. We can't do the same thing every year for our whole lives, because we have two parents in two different houses.
Yeah, I have a similar thing where my parents, they're not officially divorced, but they are separated. So I just essentially redo Christmas with just my mum, and it like it was with my brother, but now he's in Japan.
Last couple of years, with me being in Manchester, my sister being in Sheffield, my mum being in Wales, my stepbrother being down south, and my stepsister being in the Peak District, last couple of years they've been coming to my house for Christmas, because I'm kind of in the middle,
Central-ish,
and also I'm the one that can best afford to put on Christmas dinner, to be quite frank. I think my mum's the best cook, my mum thinks I'm the best cook, but I've been doing Christmas dinner for a couple of years now. I like that. I also do Christmas dinner for my friends in the city, roughly halfway through December. We put on 13 kilograms of meat this year.
Nice.
It's taken us a week to finish it. There were 2 turkey crowns, 2 beef joints, and a 5 kilogram ham. It was a lot of food. And I've got to cook another one on Sunday. Yay! It'll be smaller, though, because that was for 12 people.
Yeah, we have, me and Mike in Asia, with a load of my friends in Manchester, we book out a cottage in kind of mid-December and do a similar thing. We have 4 days where we just...
A lot of your friends from Manchester? I don't think I was invited to... I wasn't invited to that, mate.
It's specifically my scout friends, and it was someone else...
Scout friends, oh, I see.
Someone else set it up, it wasn't my idea. And
just because I don't wear, like, funny little shorts and pull a salute with my little neckerchief, I'm not good enough anymore, huh?
I mean, we honestly couldn't...
Just because I don't dress like a Christmas tree and tie knots.
I mean, if you turned up dressed as a Christmas tree, tying knots, maybe we'd let you in.
Mate, if that's what it's these secret societies, I tell you.
Yeah, I mean, you have to cross the threshold, learn the secret handshake.
Mate, how many badges do I need?
I mean, we don't really do badges when you're an adult, so...
Do I need my marine tying badge or my bug collecting badge or anything?
I mean, I don't think it's a specific requirement.
I'd be like, oh, look, here's my secret Christmas club badge. You've got to let me in.
I mean, it looks official.
So, no, that sounds nice. For those who are invited.
Sorry, man.
I think I'll move on. I'll get on with it. I will steel myself for what comes next. Yeah, no. So I've been doing Christmas dinner for a couple of years. This year we're then going to my dad's on Christmas Day, and we're going to my partner's grandparents with her mother on Boxing Day, and that covers everyone except for her dad, who lives in Australia and has a nice hot summer Christmas. So yeah, good luck getting a Christmas tree in Australia, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, ours is, I feel, Christmas Day, it's not regimented, that would be the wrong word, but because we've kind of built up this tradition over time, we have, as I say, we have stocking presents. The one thing that does sometimes move, depending on how hungry you are, is breakfast. So I don't know when this became a tradition exactly, but I learnt to cook scrambled eggs quite well when I was younger, and my mum decided that she...
pretty hard to cook them badly.
Well, initially, I think my mum made scrambled eggs when I was a kid. I didn't like them for some reason, despite the fact I love everything else to do with eggs.
So today, ladies and gentlemen, we're learning that Tom's mum cooks bad scrambled eggs.
No,
I hope your mum doesn't listen to this podcast, Tom.
I doubt she
incredibly
does.
upset.
But yeah, so she was cooking scrambled eggs, and then I learnt, when I was ill once, I learnt how to do them in the microwave, and that is not how to do scrambled eggs.
Correct.
And then I learnt a proper way of doing it with like sour cream and everything, and they were really smooth. And my mum was like, "These are amazing."
That sounds awful, man. I don't even like sour cream.
Well, you can replace it with any kind of creamy thing, or even just like whole fat milk would do the same thing.
Mate, you literally don't need to put anything in scrambled eggs. You can just put eggs in a pan.
You can, but I have always found a bit of butter and a bit of milk or something to make it go a bit further is nicer. And if you add some kind of, like, the best is when you use clotted cream, and that's ridiculous.
No.
Absolutely ridiculous, but it's the richest
Why
thing.
would you want your eggs to taste sweet?
No, because clotted cream is not sweet.
Yes, it is.
No, there's no sugar in clotted cream. Clotted cream is all not butter, but it's there's no sweetness to it. Mascarpone might not work. I'm going to try that tomorrow because I've got some in the house.
Mate, you're going to make mascarpone scrambled eggs?
Well, yeah, because it's like a cream thing. It's the thing we've got in the house to use up, so I'm going to try it. It may be awful. I haven't tried it yet. Anyway, so yeah, mum decided I made the best scrambled eggs one year, and so now...
For anyone who does want to pick up on Tom's cooking tips, do check out Tinker Tailor Soldier Spun, where he will be posting a blog on mascarpone scrambled eggs.
Oh, I'm going to have to do that now.
You are. Congratulations.
Haven't got any smoked salmon in, though. That's a shame. So yeah, mum likes smoked salmon, scrambled eggs, which is a thing I've been doing for how many years now as a Christmas breakfast, because she's making the dinner. So I need to do at least something on Christmas Day.
Because you're a useless wretch who only turns up to eat her food and leave.
No, I mean, I have cooked Christmas meals for like 17 to 20 people before, but...
So I'm getting into Christmas spirit now, you know. This is
time to have an
how
argument.
families talk to each other at Christmas, yeah.
But yeah, no, so I make scrambled eggs with smoked salmon, and we normally have a glass of Bucks Fizz then, which puts us... this is a fact I found out the other day. Would you like to guess when the average Brit starts drinking on Christmas Day?
Yeah, about 3 days before.
That's fair. The average, I think it was 11:48, which I thought was really late, because we always have Bucks Fizz at like 9 a.m, or maybe 10 a.m. But yeah, so we have that, and then we go back and do the tree presents. Or we might do that slightly out of order, depending on how hungry or not we are.
Britain really does have a drinking problem, doesn't it? Or at least a binge drinking problem.
I mean, especially on Christmas. I mean, the amount of binge drinking
around Christmas. Yeah, I mean, my housemate, he is in a relationship with a Bangladeshi Islamic girl, and she is just really confused by what she perceives as, like, basically, to quote, a white people's obsession with drinking at Christmas.
I mean, you're at home, you don't have to drive anywhere, and there's a lot of alcohol around. What else is there to do?
Lots.
It's true. I don't know, it's a thing. It's a cultural thing. We all know there's a bit of excess at Christmas, but I think it's just that fact you can...
I think Christmas is excess, isn't it?
Yeah.
In some ways. It's excess food, it's excess drink, it's excess... It's all about comfort.
Yeah.
To the extremes. To the point where people eat so much they're no longer comfortable.
Yeah, I try not to do that. I think I did that once and was like, oh, never again. I mean, I eat so much that I don't have to have dinner, but that's different.
I mean, a couple of years ago, Lisa and I actually spent Christmas Day at home on our own because we actually just fancied a break from running around after everyone. Like this year, we're going to spend it on our own, as me and her having some quality family time at Christmas, and we'll see people on Boxing Day, Christmas Eve, etc. So we vary it, and because we have so many people in different groups we need to see, we can't just go see the same person on Christmas Day and the same person on Boxing Day every year. It's perceived favouritism. So some Christmas days we need to be seeing her mum, some Christmas days we need to be seeing my mum, some Christmas days we need to be seeing my dad.
I mean, as I say, at the moment I go and see my mum for Christmas Day, but the thing my parents always used to do was Christmas Day was just us, so just my parents, me and my brother, and then we would do like seeing the rest of the family on Boxing Day. Obviously that was slightly helped by the fact that both of my mum's parents had passed away by like the time I was maybe 10, I think. So that meant we didn't have the split of having to go to two different families. But yeah, I feel like Christmas Day, the idea of having lots of relatives on Christmas Day is kind of not what Christmas Day is about for me. Christmas Day is about your immediate family, and then around that day you're going to see the rest of the family. Like, I think it's important to go see them.
That's a bit harder when you're in a blended family.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it's like if I had more people to see, it would get a lot harder because there's only so many days off around Christmas.
And I mean, now even if it is about your immediate family, my sister's got 3 kids.
Yeah.
My stepbrother's got 1 kid. So if it's just your immediate family, it's no longer just your immediate family because it's so big.
But that's what I mean. Like, so it obviously I don't have kids yet, but like if I was what my parents did, it was just them and just their kids, and then family stuff happened Boxing Day, like big family stuff. So like anyone outside of that 4 people.
That's what I mean. Even if my parents did it with just their kids, it would then be my mum, my stepdad, me, my stepsister, my sister, and my stepbrother. And then there would have to be my partner, their partners, and their kids. So, like, just your immediate family suddenly becomes, like, 25 people.
Yes, but because you're adults, like, my point is, as soon as my parents were adults and away from home, Christmas Day was just for them, and then eventually for us. So, and in your example, then your sister would stay with her partner and her kids on Christmas Day, and then you'd all meet up Boxing Day. Obviously, that doesn't work because you've got such an extended family and you're visiting all these other people. I appreciate that, but that's how it worked for us, at least.
And Snowdonia is a bit far.
Yes, yeah. We only had to go to Epsom from Croydon, which isn't that far.
Yeah, whereas my mum lives in Cumberglaw. So, Christmas dinner. You mentioned earlier you think Americans have Christmas ham because they've already murdered all their turkeys.
I mean, that's what I've learned via Facebook.
Because I know they have Thanksgiving dinner, so I always wondered, like, if they just did the same thing at Christmas. I'm like, it seems like a lot of effort, quite short space.
Yeah, I don't know enough about American
I'm curious
traditions.
To anyone who's listening, if you're not from the UK, how does your Christmas dinner differ? What's in your Christmas dinner? I mean, I did one this year. Christmas dinner I made for my friends consisted of 2 turkey crowns, a 5 kilogram ham, 2 beef joints, Yorkshire puddings, roast potatoes, mashed potatoes, swede and carrots mashed together, honey roast parsnips, honey roast carrots, broccoli, courgettes, roast garlic, turkey gravy, beef gravy. There's more. There was Christmas cake, there was mince pies, there was chocolate cake. What other savouries were there? There were more savouries. You've always got this endless list of stuff that you have to put in the oven. Having 2 ovens really helps make a Christmas dinner. Christ. Is there anything you'd include? Cranberry sauce and applesauce? Anything else you'd include?
I think you missed pigs in blanket, which are like
I did miss pigs in blankets.
Thing.
That's something you only have at Christmas. For anyone not familiar, pigs in blankets is tiny little sausages wrapped in tiny little bacon, put in the oven, and then consumed ferociously.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to the point where I definitely think that's the most interesting thing about Christmas dinner itself. I think it's just like, as you say, we don't get it any other time of year, and it's got to the point where Mum now ensures that like there will be enough for us to both go up and have like a full second portion of pigs in blankets, regardless of what else we're going to have for seconds.
Well, everyone got 3 at my Christmas dinner because there were 36. Yeah, there's just so much. I'm not a fan of Christmas cake or Christmas pudding though. Or mince pies. I've never enjoyed any of the Christmas desserts. I don't really like Leberkuchen. I don't like Stollen. I don't like panettone.
See, you have just listed some of my favourite foods,
and I've listed every Christmas dessert.
Yeah. So
except for Yule log, which I don't want splinters.
So back to our thing about like timing briefly. mince pies are the one thing that I just like them so much that I would just start eating them as soon as they appear in the shops, which is often sometime in October, just because I like the taste of them. I mean, I try not to have too many, but I do like mince pies. Christmas cake and Christmas pudding are interesting, because I know a lot of people in my family like one or the other, and the ingredients are basically the same. Just one is served hot and one has icing on.
And one has brandy all over it.
Yeah, but there's brandy in the Christmas cake, so it's not...
I think that's why one of the reasons I don't like them. I don't like alcohol in sweet desserts. I don't like alcohol in trifle. I don't like alcohol in chocolate. It doesn't taste nice.
I don't know, it depends. I mean, obviously,
well, then
I
also hate
things.
salted. I also hate salted caramel. I don't like
Okay.
sweet and savoury.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah, if you don't like that,
Same reason I don't like nuts in chocolate or nuts in cake. I don't mind nuts, but they don't go in sweet things. It's wrong.
see, I don't like nuts in chocolate because I think the text is odd. But I do like nuts.
I think
in other
nuts
things.
should be salted or in black pepper or something similar.
The general Christmas pudding recipe doesn't necessarily include nuts. My mum always includes like blanched chopped almonds, and it adds a certain crunch to it that I really like.
You're missing the other obvious Christmas dinner specialty. It's a non-edible food with the same name as an edible food.
A non-edible food?
Sorry, a non-edible product with the same name as an edible food.
Are you talking about crackers?
Yeah. Also, racist.
Oh, crackers are biscuits. Sorry, my brain was not there.
No, crackers are not biscuits. Crackers are crackers. Stop being American.
Anyway, so
You are not an American, Tom.
no,
Snap
they're
out
called
of it.
Jacob's crackers on the packet. Like,
Yeah, they're crackers, not biscuits.
crackers are a subset of biscuit. Biscuit means all types of biscuits in the UK.
Crackers are crackers. They're a thing.
Yeah, but they're all a subset of biscuit, whereas Americans use biscuit
You
to
don't
mean
put
very
cheese on
specific
biscuits.
things.
Biscuits are sweet.
You have cheese on biscuits. It's called cheese and biscuits. That's the name of the thing you order at a restaurant if you get cheese and biscuits.
No. You order cheese and crackers. Have you ever had cheese on a chocolate digestive, mate?
No, but I might have to try that. Cheese on Hovis
I am
works,
this close
so-
to being done with you right now, Tom.
Cheese on Hovis works, right? That's one of the best things, so we know that works. There must be more sweet things we can try cheese on.
No. I've already established I don't like mixing sweet and savoury. Stop it. The only way that you mix cheese with sweet things is when you make a cheesecake.
Anyway.
Crackers are crackers, alright? They're different to biscuits. They have a different texture, they have a different consistency, and they have a different flavour.
No, but what I mean is the word biscuit is a catch-all for all of those things, including what
They are
cookies.
different things.
They are different. But no, they're not. Crackers are a subset. Like, it's not like I'm saying Jaffa Cakes biscuits.
It's
That
like
would be weird.
calling gin beer.
No, but gin comes under alcohol, like the top level thing.
Mate, you're upsetting me. Move on.
Anyway, crackers, yes. They're a thing that explodes for some reason and has a terrible joke in it because you can all discuss how terrible the joke was. And sometimes a fact.
Or a riddle, or a toy, and a paper crown.
Yeah, you normally get some kind of toy, which, depending on how much money you want to spend on your Christmas crackers, is anything from really awful to just a bit bad. And then you get a hat, which probably doesn't fit your head if you're a man. Or at least that's normally my experience.
Or an alien.
I mean, I don't have a particularly big head. I know people with bigger heads.
Mate, you're like a dwarf. You're like this little tiny person with this huge head on top. Don't pretend.
And a beard.
And a beard. Yeah, you're an actual dwarf. We've established you're noddy.
Crackers are just... They're kind of weird, but they're just a thing we do, right? Like, I've never really stopped to think about them that much.
Yeah, has anyone not seen a Christmas cracker? That's a question for the audience. So, gifts. Where does gift giving originate?
I mean, I think it predates, like, the idea of Boxing Day, but I don't really know any specifics of it.
What about Saint Nick? There was apparently a real person, right?
But I don't know if that's, like, the origin of it. I don't know. I'll have to Google this now.
I mean, what's with the whole coal thing?
Yeah, I think that was always just a threat. I mean, nowadays you wouldn't give someone coal, right? Because where
I don't
would
know.
you
That's
get
what
coal?
I was going to give my mum some coal.
I found a
Just as a
website.
trick.
I found a website called whychristmas.com. Of course, it does mention about frankincense, gold, and myrrh. Those were presents.
I think I'll try and get my mum like an advent calendar next year with just a tiny piece of coal in each day.
From different mines around the UK. That'd be a lot of effort.
Yeah. Yeah, no, maybe it originates with the story of three wise men, who knows, or at least maybe that's the inspiration for it.
Yeah, well, that's what whychristmas.com says, which apparently is a website.
Let's be honest, myrrh is a terrible gift.
Yeah, I mean, what does it do? You rub it on the back of a duck and it goes quite fast.
Frankincense smells nice, gold is useful and pretty. Myrrh is like embalming fluid for corpses, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe this bloke somehow knew that he was going to die and needs to come back and probably wanted to be fresh for Easter.
Yeah, it's get it in early, you know.
Just
for
like
resurrection.
cologne for people who know they're going to spend a while dead.
If you drink enough myrrh over like 30 years, then when you are resurrected 3 days later, you'll look great.
No more wrinkles.
Yeah, gifts. We've kind of touched on it already, I suppose. Like some of the points I put down here anyway. Who do you feel you have to give gifts to is probably the best way to put this. Not who do you always give gifts to, because like people probably due to their finances may have different choices.
The most important people that I have to give gifts to every year are my niece and my nephew.
Yeah.
I've got 2 nieces and a nephew. Although Lola is not even 1 yet, she's too young to understand. I got Kira for her first Christmas a Pandora charm bracelet with the intention of adding a charm to it at every major event in her life.
Oh, that's a good idea.
It was stolen when my sister's house was robbed.
Oh, that's shit.
My nephew is incredibly, incredibly bright, and he gets engineering-based toys for kids that are 5 years older than him every year. And it takes him about 2 weeks to phone me and tell me that he's done it on his own by reading the instructions. And I love that every year.
That's cool, yeah.
Although I do try and find similar gifts for my niece, but there really aren't enough STEM toys aimed at girls.
No, there aren't. No.
There needs to be more. Although it is, once again, I don't know if it's... I know what my niece really wants is costumes to dress up in. So who am I to try and tell her she should be playing with STEM toys when what she really wants to do is play make-believe? I mean, I know we should be encouraging young girls to try and enter these fields and be bright and achieve, but should it be at the expense of what they actually want to do? At what point is it what they've been taught to do or taught to like? At what point is it socialised? And at what point is it just a preference?
Yeah, I think that's always going to be a hard line to walk.
And who am I to try and dictate what her preference should be?
I mean, I suppose you can always see yourself as the cool uncle who brings along a type of present like maybe their parents haven't thought of.
But every old git thinks they're the cool uncle. It's up to whether the kids think you're cool or not, isn't it? Kids probably think you're cool if you get them stuff they enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Those are the most important people. Those are the most important people I need to buy gifts for, because those are the people that will be the most disappointed if they don't get anything. Those are the people for whom Christmas is still something magical instead of just something nice. Following on from that, there's my dad and my mum. Then there's my siblings. My stepbrother and I haven't gotten each other anything in a couple of years, but we've actually not seen each other in a couple of years. I get something from my stepsister or my sister every year. I get something for my stepsister on my dad's side, so it's my dad's fiance's daughter, but not for her son because I've never met him. I get for my grandparents. I get for Lisa.
Yeah.
Lisa gets spoilt every year. Well, you laugh. I spent £140 on her advent calendar last year.
Wow, okay. Was that one of the gin or whiskey?
No, my mother made her one for me. That was my idea. So it's just a pouch on a set of strings for each day. And in each day, she got a different Twinings tea bag, a different Yankee votive candle.
That would, yeah. The Yankees alone will add up.
Either a small sample-sized bottle of wine, a small sample-sized bottle of port, a small honey or a small jam or marmalade, and a small chocolate in each day.
Wow, yeah, that is a lot.
Yes, so, but my mum liked the idea that much that she made me one she made Lisa one last year, Lisa made me one this year and made my mum one. And we've all started doing it for each other, which means all the way through December we open a small gift. So instead of having our stocking fillers on Christmas morning, we have one a day until Christmas. And we've been enjoying this a lot, and I think it's something we're going to keep up and try to get going.
That does sound like a cool idea. I mean, I just have my generic chocolate advent... Well, it's quite a nice chocolate advent calendar.
Yeah, I've got a Milky Bar one as well. But it's just a nice idea that you fill with a little thing. I probably won't go as over the top with it in future years as I did with Lisa, but it was our first Christmas apart when I was living down south and she was still living up north.
Yeah, yeah.
And I thought it'd be a nice way to, all the way through December, remind her every single morning that I was thinking about her.
Yeah, no, it's a cool idea. I like the sound of that. Like, I've never put that much planning into an advent calendar, I can tell you that much.
Well, I've still not done my Christmas shopping this year.
Wow, okay. That's impressive. I mean, I know you've got Saturday, so...
I will be out in Manchester tomorrow. Whereas last year I did it all in November. I've just been swept off my feet this year.
Yeah, I felt similar. I've ordered a lot of stuff online and just had to wait for it to arrive.
So, yeah. I predominantly it's direct family members, and then some of my girlfriend's family members. But since I've entered a higher paying job, I've been trying to buy for quite a few of my friends as well. Not always a big gift, but I remember being a kid and getting lots of presents, and now I remember being an adult and opening maybe 2 or 3, and maybe getting a little bit of vouchers or cash or something, and it's losing that magic, and I can't increase the amount of presents I have, but I can maybe try and give other people something else and make everyone else have something extra, because I can afford it now. And as a result, Christmas always becomes inordinately expensive for me. I bought 2 of my friends a copy of Dead of Winter last year, so that's the kind of gift that, I tend to give out.
Yeah, I can see how that adds up. It's interesting, like, now that I have an actual job and therefore have more money, I actually have less people that I probably see enough to get a gift for.
I maybe go more than I should, but I'm kind of the opinion that I'm not going to buy anyone a gift that's a token gift, because there's no point opening a gift and going, oh, okay, I've got one of these.
Definitely not, yeah.
Like, a gift is only worth having if you're happy when you open it, or if it's particularly useful, or something you really need. You know, those gifts are worth having. I suppose that's an incorrect statement, but that's the best kind of gift, is the gift that where someone's eyes open up when they see it. And a lot of people don't expect to get that as adults anymore, which is why I think people enjoy spending time with the young kids in their family, because you get to see them have a really magical day. But yeah, that's who I buy gifts for.
So in general, I buy for, like, close family, and I mean there is an aspect of people you're going to see. I feel there's kind of a cultural thing where you should get someone a gift if you're going to see them. But like, I would always try and get something for, like, the extended family that I know I'm definitely going to see at Christmas. Whereas if I'm seeing someone a bit later on, maybe I won't worry about getting it in December. I can give them a present later on, and it might not be a Christmas thing.
Before I moved down south, you and I were loose friends. You know, we didn't speak a lot. We didn't spend a lot of time together, but we always got on with each other when we did happen to be at the same event. I think there's a new tradition needs to start, and it needs to start this Christmas, Tom. I think we are obligated to buy each other a hat every Christmas.
Oh dear. Are you saying starting this year? Because I'm not sure when I'm going to see you next, but I can send one.
Well, it can arrive late, but it can be as grand or silly but I think that we need to exchange hats.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds like a fun thing to have.
And speaking of hats, for everyone listening, we do really want to see you in your best hats, be they festive or not. Be you of the Stetson kind, be you of the bowler, the top hat, the fancy ascot, I've got too many feathers in this, or even just a Christmas hat. Send us some pictures. We really want to know who's listening. We really want to hear your voices, see those pictures, and get to know our audience. And we will respond to every single post and every single photo.
Yeah, between us, we should be able to get around to them at least now.
So please do send us pictures of you in your favourite or silliest hats, your finest or funniest.
And I'm going to keep uploading photos of me in weird hats for the show.
Yeah, have you run out of hats yet?
No, I've got a photo for the music episode.
What hat are you wearing today? Tell me it's a Father Christmas hat.
I have a festive tricorn that has. I don't know if the lights are working. No, tricorn's the wrong word. Sorry, it's got 3.
Mate, I'm just picturing a 3-horned unicorn now as well. That would be majestic. The magical Triceratops.
It's not a tricorn. I will send you a photo. I've mislaid my phone.
Besides, you don't need a single horn. You don't need a tricorn, sir. You require a bicorn.
So, like a devil hat, a devil horn.
just Merry Christmas. Enjoy your Christmas hat sexuality related pun. 3 in 1. Back to the tricorn.
But
I'm grinning like an idiot right now.
I know you are.
I tied everything, and I don't know how I managed it. Do I get my not tying badge for that?
Why not?
For tying everything together. Excellent. I've got a badge. I can join your stupid scout cult Christmas club now.
I mean, it's basically a cult.
Children to the neckerchief gods.
I mean, it's more of a cult of drinking wine in a hot tub, but okay.
That's not something children should be involved with, Tom.
Well, there's no children.
This is what you're doing at Scouts. I have concerns.
We're all people who were Scouts. There's a difference.
Your favourite Christmas number 1, Rolf Harris.
No. Giving of hats aside, I feel like it's generally close close family and friends, I always do housemate presents. That's the thing I've always done. Like you were saying about giving gifts to more people. When I was in Manchester, I very much felt that way. Like there was a group of people who would come around and we'd have like a Christmas meal. I would always try and make sure to get at least one good present per person that was coming around. Because I had like a grant to do my PhD, and a lot of my friends were still poor students by comparison. So I felt like I had to do something to try and make their Christmas a bit better. But
you had to help little Timmy. Is it little Timmy? Who's the kid?
Tiny Tim.
Christmas Carol. Tiny Tim.
Tiny Tim.
Tiny Tim.
Yeah, so I used to do that, but like now I probably have less people I see around Christmas, I think. Like I've got like a core group of very good friends who I will see.
Because you've moved somewhere with more people, so you see less people. I see.
It's a bit different now. Like there's never been an obligation. Obligation's the wrong word, but like my group of like old school friends, we just don't do Christmas presents. We just do hanging out instead. So, I mean, maybe it's a thing I could start, but I haven't done it this year.
So I sent a gift all the way to Afghanistan this year.
Oh yes, I heard. Did you tell me that on the last episode, or did you just tell me that in general?
I don't know if I told you I was planning on it, but there is this ugly painting we found when we moved into the house in Andrew's room behind his radiator of the previous occupant's daughter and her friends that she'd painted herself. It was hideous, it was covered in dust, and we've been hiding it in each other's rooms for months. It went all the way to Spain when we hid it in Adam's luggage when he went to Spain for 2 weeks. He didn't notice until he got there. He was really quite amazed we'd managed it. He was a bit furious that he'd dragged it all the way there in his luggage. He brought it back with him. It is now currently sat in the British Army base in Kabul, Afghanistan, and has been hung in Andrew's office in the medical wing.
Amazing.
It's been abroad twice this year. So yeah, that's quite something. Merry Christmas to you, Corporal. Yeah, no, I need to buy a lot more presents this year. I've not really got around to it. I've asked for some unusual. I've asked for a lot of gentlemanly things this year. I'm getting a pair of gloves. I'm getting a pair of slippers. I'm getting a good umbrella. People find me difficult to buy for, and they say, "What do you want?" And then I think, "Oh, I don't know. I'd like one of these, but you don't have 400 quid spare." Because I tend to buy one expensive quality item that lasts a long time rather than replace a cheap one every year. So, I'm getting an umbrella this year, but I'm getting a solid stick umbrella where the handle, the frame, it's all one piece of wood. There's no chance of it snapping. It's got a really sturdy frame. I'm getting a good pair of leather gloves. I shouldn't need another pair of leather gloves for years.
Yeah.
So things that I want, I would like some more RAM for my PC, but RAM's gone up in price because of Bitcoin mining. I would like a smoker for the garden, but the cheapest decent smoker is a Weber Smoky Mountain, and that's 300 quid. Yeah. I can't ask people for these things. It's not appropriate. So I've really had to rack my brains and try and think of things this year, because it's easy to say, oh, I miss getting nice presents that would really surprise or amaze me, but when no one knows what to buy you because you already seem to have the things they can think of buying you, or your tastes are generally too, should we say, grand?
Yeah.
Then you can't really expect much because no one knows what to get you, or no one knows you well enough. One thing that does annoy me, though, I hate receiving shower gel. I hate receiving deodorant.
No, Mum still always gives me some kind of Lynx thing in the stocking, I think, and I'm like, oh, okay.
People still picture the me from 5 or 6 years ago, so I still get loads of booze every year, which doesn't get drank. And I hate getting things that I don't like because people don't know me well enough. And this isn't like, oh, that shirt's not what I would have bought, or something like that. This is like, I really hate the taste of dark chocolate.
And then someone buys you dark chocolate, yeah.
Or, someone will buy me a type of booze brand that I really can't stand or something. And it's really nice that they put the thought and effort into getting me a gift, but every year someone gets me dark chocolate or something similar, and every year I just have to hand it to someone else.
I got into a period where I felt like I was hard to buy for, because I'd want specific things, and so when I was younger it would be like I wanted a specific thing, and if you said, oh, I just want a board game, you might not get the thing you're looking for. You'll get something in the vague genre, but not like a specific game you want, or a video game or something. So I think as a kid I would try and be quite specific if I could. It would depend on who the family member was. Some of them would just give me money because it was easier than getting something where they're like, oh, he probably won't like it. And then when I went off to uni, I can't remember when it started, but basically my parents kind of went, we're not exactly sure what you want. Can you give us a list? And then I've just started having, when I think of something that I might want, but I'm not going to buy right now, it kind of gets added to an Amazon wish list, and then I send that off. but I don't expect to get anything specific from that list. So it's like people know that things on that list are things I might want, and they can buy in that vague category unless it's something specific, which works quite well.
Yeah. But it's like, even with me, for my birthday this year, my father was like, what do you want? And I was like, I'd like a new set of pants. And he's like, all right, well, what kind of pants are you looking for? And I'm like, And I started looking, and I'm like, tell you what, how about you just give me some money towards some pants? And I bought myself for like 300, 250 quid set of pants with a copper base and an aluminium non-stick surface. And I've got a really nice set of pants, and it's the first set of pants I've bought since my first set, which I bought when I moved out of home 9 years ago to go to university. And those were second-hand, good, solid, and they lasted those 9 years, even though they're second-hand and already worn and the colour had faded and stuff. But I'm like, it's about time that I just get myself a good, fresh, quality set of pants. And there's no point buying a cheap set. Buy yourself one set that's going to last you another 10, 15 years.
Yeah, I've done a similar thing where I've like pooled money from various people. Sometimes if I know I want a really big thing and I can't think of anything small, I'll just say, can everyone give me money? And I'm definitely going to put it towards this thing. And then let them all know that I've used the money wisely, basically.
It's kind of hard to buy for some people. Some people are easy to buy for. My girlfriend's upset that I've stolen her crown of gift giving.
Right, yeah.
She was always the best person in her family at getting gifts, and the most thoughtful, and had all the best ideas. And I've blown her away year after year, and she is furious. I relish it. I love it. I'm just fantastic at buying gifts for people. I think it's also because my gifts, as I've stated earlier, tend to be somewhat generous. I helped a friend buy his first suit this year. I put half the money down for it. I think every man should own one suit. You never know when you may be called to a wedding or a funeral.
Yeah, no, I think, that's a good advice to have a suit. I think everyone should have a suit, not just men. Like, suits are nice.
I'm somewhat jealous of the female ability to have a variety of outfits that it's acceptable to wear at formal occasions.
True.
Because men have one, and it is suit.
But there's a brilliant David Mitchell rant on the internet about how we don't want to ruin it, because at the moment all we have to do is wear a suit. We don't fancy men going out there wearing other things and making people think it's acceptable for us to wear anything other than suits. It's quite funny. He puts it very well. And obviously it's all a bit tongue-in-cheek.
I wish was more acceptable. Like, particularly at formal occasions. Kilts on people who aren't Scottish.
Yeah, I mean, kilts are cool.
Kilts are great.
Kilts are cool.
Great. They look great, they're comfortable. Kilts are great. I can get away with it because I'm half Welsh, and the Welsh do have their own traditional kilt patterns. But, everyone just sees it and goes, why are you wearing that? You're not Scottish.
I mean, I know, as you say, there's Welsh patterns as well, but I think it's probably better that way around than everyone, like, appropriating the kilt and using it and ruining it for the Scots and for the Welsh.
And the Irish. It's a Celtic thing, really. The Irish have their own patterns. So, I mean, other cultures have other celebrations. There's the Jewish Hanukkah, which I honestly know next to nothing about. I can't imagine it celebrating the birth of Jesus.
No. I don't know a terrible amount about it, but I know they have the menorahs, and I think is it 7 days that they get presents for? But obviously they don't get like a big... Well, I mean, depending on how much money you have, but they don't get like a big present every day. They get a small present every day, and normally a big present at the end, based on what some of my friends have told me. So...
Okay.
I think that's how that generally works.
And then you've got the Germans with their crazy traditions.
Yeah, I mean, well, we stole a lot of their traditions, essentially, for what we see as traditional Christmas.
we left some intentionally, though, didn't we?
Which ones are you going for Krampus here?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we say we'll give you coal instead.
What is that about? Why do you have a giant devil chasing children around? It's terrifying.
They need to be kept in line, clearly.
Germany, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, I don't know much about... I know the vague concept of Krampus, but that's kind of all I know.
I don't. All I know is I think he steals naughty children or something.
Yeah, I think it's like... Yeah, instead of having, like, they get a crap present, they just steal the kids. Like the child catcher in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
But infinitely more terrifying. Yeah.
We'll have to get a photo to put in the show notes of what Krampus looks like.
And please, if you're German and listening, explain Krampus to us for the love of Christmas. As a British person, I do get somewhat irate when I hear British people saying Santa Claus. He's not Santa Claus, he's Father Christmas.
Yeah, I think so. I would always say Father Christmas.
Yeah, I'm increasingly, for years and years, I've been hearing Santa Claus instead of Father Christmas. And it's this, it's an Americanism that has been imported, and it's not Father Christmas. It's different. It's Father Christmas. It's not Santa Claus. Go away.
It's a thing. It's a thing that it's come over with movies and things like that. I mean, obviously, the movie The Santa Claus probably helped. Yeah, he's Father Christmas. You need the Raymond Briggs Father Christmas along with the Raymond Briggs Snowman movie. That's British Father Christmas and British Snowman.
My name's Ale Jones. It's all gone wrong for me. Walking through the air. Go on, Tom, you sung in choir. Render us with your best walking through the air.
Not at pitch.
Serenades. on demand, right now. Do it.
We're walking through the air. See, I'm not going to do it at pitch. Last night I went out with some friends to a place I wouldn't normally be able to go, being a man. But I was able to go as a guest to
the ladies' bathroom.
No, a lesbian bar. Because my friends invited me because they know some drag kings, and we went to see some drag kings, and several of them did because it was festive.
It wasn't Boy Box, was it?
It was Boy Box. Yeah.
How do I know that? Was Liz there?
Liz?
Fenrar.
Oh, if she was, I didn't notice her. But
she is. What's her alias?
What was?
Because she is a drag king.
Oh, see, I didn't know this. Maybe they were there, and I didn't realise.
Max Ryder.
No, there wasn't a Max Ryder.
Max Ryder drag king.
There was an animal, which I thought was quite funny. And then there was a Frankie Sinatra, who was very good. Who else was there?
Now, as Liz is a professional costume designer, her drag costume is quite on point.
Yeah, I mean, just judging from the profile picture. Oh wow, yeah, that's good. Yeah, I don't believe they were there, but
anyway, you went to Boy Box.
Yeah, I went to Boy Box with some friends of mine. Her and her girlfriend are over from Japan, so it was a good opportunity to see them. And there was a lot of because it was a festive themed one. There were lots of people doing various takes on walking in the air, which was quite funny. My favourite one was someone who lay down. They had a chair and lay down on the chair, and then were pretending to swim through the air. That was good. That is the most I've seen walking in the air this year, is at a drag act.
So, did you take the opportunity to ask them about the festive traditions in Japan?
No, but I already know about this because my brother's over there. So
then enlighten.
So Japan is not a Christian country. You might be surprised to find out. And my brother's been over there, and my friend Jana's been over there as well, and for some time. And yeah, they don't have Christmas Day in the same way we do.
However, for those people who don't know, Japan is a very open country religiously in the modern era.
Yeah.
It has not always been that way. So people are not actually expected to have a single religion as per se in Japan. It is deemed perfectly normal and societally acceptable to go to whichever is the closest or simply most appropriate to you at the time. So you'll find the same people going to Christian churches, Shinto shrines, and Buddhist temples. And they just simply acknowledge them all at the same time instead of sort of saying, no, this is the correct faith. Wouldn't it be nice if the whole world was like that?
It would, wouldn't it? I mean, that'd be good.
Anyway, sorry to interrupt. I was just explaining that when you said it wasn't a Christian country, that doesn't mean there aren't churches and Christian people.
No,
it's not accepted. No. It's very much accepted. It's one of the three major sort of pillars of their religions.
And I think, they're really into Western stuff. So they like doing Christmas-themed things, but they don't have... Christmas is not a national holiday. It's kind of... Or at least I don't think it's a national holiday. And it's kind of seen as a couple's day instead of a family day. So there is still present buying, and it's normally quite one big expensive present to whoever you're going out with at the time. But the thing they do, due to a brilliant piece of marketing by KFC in I think the 1960s, they order in advance, and you cannot for love nor money if you haven't ordered in advance. They have KFC on Christmas Day as their traditional, what they see as the traditional Christmas food, which is hilarious that has gone clever marketing idea that's just been paying dividends for years for KFC Japan.
They take a Western holiday and go, what's Western? I know. KFC.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty Western.
Chicken.
Just a big bucket of chicken. I mean, it would be easier than the turkey.
it is Christmas. It is cold outside, to be frank. It's dark outside, and there are a lot of people less fortunate than the rest of us. I don't do as much as I would like to for homeless charities. I think it is one of those charities that I don't think any of us can ignore. I'm going to be looking at ways to try and get more involved this year. I think it's something that I feel morally obligated to do with the number of homeless people I'm seeing on the streets these days.
Yeah, it's getting worse, and they're kind of...
Yeah, and we can address the causes of that in a political-themed podcast, which we will be drawing very shortly, because our last non-special, we did draw politics as the main subject, and we will be drawing the sub-bracket shortly as we draw to a close. But I do want to draw attention to the fact that there are a lot of people out there that really need help. And I would like to encourage everybody to do whatever they usually do a little bit more than last year. And I'll try and do the same.
Anything is obviously helpful.
Even if it's just what I did earlier in the month, which is nick a giant candle from pub and give it to a homeless person because it's a little bit of heat and warmth. I mean, that wasn't why I nicked it, but I nicked it because it was a laugh, to be honest. But
I mean, one of the easiest things you can do is like buy some food, buy a sandwich or something.
Something warm.
Yeah, warm drink.
Warm food, warm drink.
Obviously, check with them before you do that, because they might... You don't want to like buy someone something and they'll be like, oh, I don't want it. But in most cases, I think they will accept free food and hot drinks. And
if you're worried about any stereotypes about giving homeless people money and what they might spend it on, you can just give them food.
And if you want to give more money, I know that at least in the UK, Shelter is quite a good charity for homelessness. And they do a lot of not just helping out homeless people and setting up places for them to eat and drink.
It's Christmas, Tom. What would Jesus do?
I mean, make thousands of fish appear.
Probably, yeah. I've been seeing a lot recently in regards to America's sort of very rabid Christianity and Donald Trump and his recent comments on Jerusalem, etc. And people are like, what would Jesus do? And it's like, let's just remind everybody that whipping a bitch is not beyond the realms of possibility. Because Jesus was known to whip bitches. Don't whip the homeless people.
No, don't do that. But yeah, sorry, I was just going to say, Shelter, in addition to going out and doing stuff for homeless people specifically, they also do a lot of stuff related to housing in general and petitioning the government to try and improve. I mean, we have a housing crisis at the moment. They're trying to do stuff like that. So I think they're probably quite a good charity to support if you have to pick a charity to support over Christmas, if you haven't got one already that you think is helping.
So I think that wraps our Christmas episode. We're recording this on the 22nd. It's getting late. I need to do all my Christmas shopping on the 23rd, and my family are due to arrive on the 24th. I hope everyone has a great Christmas, whether you celebrate it or not. Have a great Christmas period. And, eat, drink, and be merry.
Yeah, have a happy holiday, everyone, whichever one that may be, and enjoy Christmas and New Year in whatever way you enjoy it.
Christmas, New Year, Hanukkah, whatever else it might be. Whatever your faith, your doctrine, or lack of, try and spend some time with people you care about and watch Die Hard.
Yeah, watch Die Hard.
So we're just going to draw quickly our political subject.
Yep, very quickly. There we go. Which is Brexit ad infinitum.
Well, yeah, it's never going to end, is it? So, great.
We're going to have fun.
We're going to be talking about Brexit. Enjoy your blue passport, Tom. I wish I could be enthusiastic about the next episode, people. And Simon, I've spoken directly to you multiple times today. There is going to be swearing. I'm basically going to be David Tourette's Mitchell next week. Thank you all for joining us. We really appreciate that. We peaked multiple weeks ago on a French hobbyist chart thanks to our board game episode. Big shout out to Will, who was our guest, and Wade as well. But I strongly suspect those French listeners came through Will. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you've stuck with us for some of the other subjects. We do have more board games and more nerdy stuff in the topics. It's not all politics, but if you do want to listen to us talk about a whole country rolling the dice, the next episode is for you.
He does have a robot. He does have a Roomba. Does he keep it?
He has a Roomba.
It's a Roomba.
The Roomba's been cleaning the room anyway. The Roomba, empty the Roomba. It's full of needles.
Also,
the Roomba's been climbing up and down the tree. 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 Climbing up and